Hi, and welcome to this Yoga for Back Care practice. It's going to be about a 30-minute long sequence to continue work to strengthen the low back and the pelvis, to stretch the upper back, and to just continue to draw everything together so that the back, the low back, the upper back, and the arms work as a unit. You don't need any equipment for this other than maybe a blanket for underneath your knees for later or underneath your pelvis. And just remember, as always, no pain or increase in pain as you practice. Keep breathing, and the beauty of working with a video is that you can stop at any time and review the instructions. So it's a really sunny day here today. I hope the shadows aren't against us. I'm sure we can work it out. We're going to start with some roll ups and roll downs, and we'll start in child's pose, balasana, and I suggest that you have the feet and knees hip width apart. So here are your hips in the middle of your legs. So we don't want to be that wide or necessarily close together, just a small gap between. And of course here, if you want to put a blanket underneath your knees for a bit more padding, you can. And then taking the sitting bones back and just reaching out as our checking in and the start of our practice. In fact, let's put the fists, also the hands, underneath the forehead. And just connect into the breath here in this child's pose. Now, in this child's pose, you can start to notice what it's like in the back. Notice what it's like in your breath. You might even notice if there's some parts that feel stiff or some parts that feel stronger or weaker, even here just in this static breathing pose. Don't have to move around to experience or be aware of those sensations. Start to notice if you're evenly on the left or the right, if you need to sort of even things out a little bit. And start to be aware of the breath in the back of the body. Widening the ribs as you inhale, softening down as you exhale. Okay, from here, stretch your hands out. Nice wide hands, really spread the fingers. Hands as wide as a mat, stretch your sitting bones back. So, and if you can't flex your knees this much, don't worry, you can work with the knees less flexed, so sort of halfway to all fours. But reach forward with the hands as you draw the sitting bones back. So this is a practice if you can bend your knees this much. And really start to stretch here. You sort of have the sense that the hands are sort of slurped and stuck onto the mats like frog hands. And from there you can reach forward with the hands and the arms and reach back with the sitting bones. You might want to just inhale forwards and exhale back a few times just to warm up the hips a little. Just to get a little movement in. And then when you're ready, then stretch in child's pose again. So stretch, stretch, stretch it. Nice active arms. Good. And then let's walk the hands back and tuck the toes under and lift both knees off the ground at the same time. And then press the heels down as you unfurl the front of the body and stretch up. And exhale. And we're rolling down here. So let the head roll. It's really important. It's a roll, not a bend. Okay? And either way, it's a pain-free range. So you only go as far or as not far as is comfy for you. So rolling, starting with the head. Bend your knees really softly if your back is grumbling. Let the knees bend, let the knees bend. Roll forward. Walk your hands forward. Lower both knees at the same time. Really important. And then stretch forward. Good, and then slide the hands back. A breath will happen Lift the knees, lower the heels, inhale, slide the hands up the front of the body, unfurl like a carpet. Good, exhale, rolling down, softly rolling. Roll, roll, roll. Slide the hands forward and then stretch as you release the toes. I'll give you the time to do one more. Toes under, heels down. Really, so we're using the backs of the legs and the buttock muscles to bring you up and give you strength. Good. And then rolling down, last one. And then coming down to your child's pose. Okay, come up a little higher. And let's wash the floor. So you can have the sitting bones and the hips above the knees. We're going to reach one hand forward, draw it back. Inhale, up. Exhale to stretch. Just to get yourself used to this movement, there's a slight turn in the upper back as you reach forward. Pain-free range. Now, one thing I want you to watch out for, as you reach forward, don't let the low back sag down or the belly sag down. So we keep the belly lifting up and these sitting bones are heading back the whole time. So there starts to be a stretch happening here through the center. You're not just letting your hands go forward and sagging everything down, okay? Then, if that is comfy, you can go on to the next level. If it's not, you stay and you just do those moving ones. Otherwise, for a bit more strength, we put one elbow right underneath the shoulder. Okay, so not out to the side, not in front, right underneath. Nice strong base of support. And then reach the opposite hand out and stretch. Keep the pelvis even, just like with our Superman pose. You can lower the head down onto the ground or onto your arm if you want, or you can keep it in line, but you're reaching forward with this hand, reaching back with the sitting bones. 2 or 3 breaths, or maybe 3 or 4, and then changing. So I'll show you on this side, forearm underneath the shoulder, hand reaching forward, and it's not just pulling you forward like that, it's a two-way stretch. So sharpen the tailbone away, breathing in and breathing out here. Well done. And then, have a little breather in child's pose. Breathe across your back. So you might feel the stretch from the hand to the elbow to the armpit to your middle back, okay? And then let's come up, back onto all fours, and then let's stretch the other side, the other half of the body, the lower half of the body. Take your your right leg out behind you and press the heel away. Okay, so it's sort of the start of Superman, but we're really reaching the heel back and at the same time pressing the toes down. So it's a little bit stronger than Superman, where we might just be reaching the heel away. I want you also to think about pressing the toes down. And 3 or 4 breaths here. So the navel's engaging, the elbows are facing each other, head and face looking down, pressing the heel away. Good, and then change sides. So things to watch out for. And let me turn myself to a little angle. Things to watch out for. We don't want to drop this hip or lift it too much. We want to be in a nice, elongated, comfortable, lengthened position through the spine. Good. Lots of room in your shoulders, so keep the hands underneath the shoulders, but reach out of the waist. Good. And then release. Well done. Stop for a moment, maybe in kneeling. And then come up to high kneeling and step 1 foot forward. Let's step the right foot forward. And want the back of the pelvis to be even. And then when you get here, don't worry about coming forward into a lunge. Instead, think about pressing this front foot down. Palms in the muscle. So breathing in and breathing out and pressing the front foot down. Keep breathing. It's strong work. You should start to feel hot, not just because the sun's on you. And really check that your whole foot is pressing down. So you don't want just a little toe side of the foot or just the big toe side of the foot. The whole foot pressing down, belly's drawing in, nice and long and lean through the spine. Good, and then let's change. If you can change. Now I don't know if you saw that, but there was a little indentation where my foot was on the mat. So pelvis even, don't let the left hip come forward, and connect the whole of your left foot down, and then just press straight down. Smile. Now you might notice that one leg isn't as strong as the other. That's okay. Maybe that side you do twice, okay? This is a proposal pose, so this is if we're proposing to someone. And we're right here in the moment, not moving forward, not moving back, right down connected to the mat. Good. And then gently releasing down, well done. Here, we can come forwards again into all fours and lift the hips and come into downward dog. Or you can use a chair here for your downward dog. So I'm going to show you with the chair. Just wait for a moment, I'll go and get it. As you come up, if you're going to get a chair, make sure that you lift the knees off the ground at the same time and roll up. Get in another transition while you can. And then if you are going to use a chair for your downward dog, make sure that the chair is on the sticky mat. Okay, so it's not going to slide around anywhere. Because what we're going to do, let me put it this way, that might be better with the shadow, is bring the hands onto the chair seat. Then you can hold the chair seat, or you can put your hands flat on the chair seat, and then step back and find your downward dog here. Okay, so you can bend your knees just as we would with downward dog, and reach back. Reach back, reach back. And then you can have a little play here at pedaling the feet. And you might just also need to have a play at how far back you go. So I need to be quite far back here to really feel the stretch through the back. And work the ankles, okay? Well, it's easy to pedal the feet and just be quite sort of soft here and not really make a change or not do too much. So if you want to work into the feet and ankles, really give them a good stretch. Good. And then when you've done that, come to some sort of symmetry. So hands pressing down, knees both can be bent, no problem at all. Take the sitting bones back. Find that nice stretch through the spine here. And then when you're ready, gently walk forward. So you could do that twice. If you're watching on the video, same action to come up, you can do that action, the downward dog, twice. And then just find yourself sitting on the chair for a moment. Allow your feet, both left and right, to be connected onto the ground. Check your feet are facing forward. And just breathe here for a moment. Lift up through the spine. Let the crown of the head rise up towards the ceiling. Good. Inhale, sweep your palms up, reach up out of your waist. Exhale. Bring the palms down. Slide the hands down onto your thighs. Transfer the weight into your heels. So you might need actually to shuffle forward. And then lean forward here at the hips. It's a safe transition to getting up. And press through the heels and use your glute muscles to bring you to standing. Good. Okay. So from there, let's come and lie on the back. Now at this point you might decide that you want to have a blanket underneath your pelvis. It's always nice. And feet on the floor, effortless rest. The pelvis even, the shoulders even. Oh, just take a moment here to settle in your effortless rest. I don't have my eyes closed because the sun's shining in them. And breathing in as you connect to your breath. As you breathe out, press both feet down. Inhale, release. Exhale, just pressing the feet straight down. You'll start to notice as you practice this more and more that you're activating your leg muscles, activating through the pelvic floor a little, and just connecting both the left and right foot down the same. So also notice if you have a tendency for your feet to roll out, or you just work the inner or outer side of your foot, can you bring the whole foot to press down? Good. And then release. Okay. Now, inhale, and as you exhale, roll the tailbone off the ground. Inhale, release. So the smallest of all pelvic tilts, just rolling the lowest part of your spine, the tailbone off the ground and then down. So really it's only the cleft of the buttocks that lifts up. Okay, the low back, the whole pelvis stays on the floor. Inhale to release. Exhale, and that exhale peels the whole back off the ground. Inhale, belly fills with breath. Exhale. Inhale. One more. Exhale. And then inhale and release. Oh. Okay. Hug the knees into the chest. And just again, inhale, drawing in. Exhale, drawing in. Inhale, release. So this is a softer movement. If the movement before is painful, you can replace it with this. It's the very softest, moving with the breath, exhaling to draw the knees in and feel that you're lengthening your low back. Inhale, allow the belly to fill with breath. Really, the knees and the hands are not what we're thinking about, just because they're at the front. That's where our brain wants to watch. Good. Last one. And you're oiling your low back here. Good. Inhale, bring the knees away now. Bring your hands onto the lowest part of your abdomen. You can feel the muscles here between the pubic bone and your belly button. And all we do is exhale, tap down with a toe. Inhale, back up. Exhale, inhale. Exhale, inhale. Smallest amount of movement. Feel the muscles moving underneath your hands. About 5 each side. Good. And then release and put your feet down on the floor. Take your arms out to the sides. Oh, soften everything. And then either press your feet down onto the floor and just stay there without lifting, or press the feet onto the floor, lift the pelvis softly off the ground. Just to open the front of the hips for a few breaths. We've been in hip flexion in child's pose a lot. And just stay here and breathe. Maybe bring the hands onto the front of the hips and just brush off imaginary crumbs. Just give a little space to these inguinal ligaments. And then breathing in and breathing out and releasing down. Good job. Okay, you can stay here then and have a few breaths for your Shavasana. And that's a short and simple practice just to continue our work to build strength around the pelvis, strength around the front, the back, and the sort of insides with that very small and focused work. I hope you enjoyed it. Practice again, and I'll see you next time.